I want to talk about the levels of inebriation. This is what happens to you when you drink more and more, and what words we use to describe those levels. So you have a couple sips of red wine. What do you feel? Nothing? Well, if you feel nothing, if you feel like your normal old self, then you would say, and someone might ask you this question, you would say, I'm completely sober. I'm totally sober. What does that mean? That means I'm not affected. Now, you could say that you're sober without drinking anything. You could say, yeah, I'm sober right now. I haven't had anything to drink. I haven't had a sip of alcohol, right? I'm completely sober. Or you could say that you're completely sober when you've had a couple sips, but you don't feel affected by those sips. Sober. Totally sober. And in fact, when if you're driving and you've had a few drinks or not, the police may pull you over and they might give you a sobriety test. So the noun form is sobriety. Okay. So this means kind of unaffected by alcohol. This is related to alcohol because it's an absence of being affected by it, right? Not drunk at all. And I can say with great confidence right now, I am totally sober. Not because I've had some alcohol, but because I haven't had any. I have had coffee though, right? This is coffee. Coffee makes me more sober. Now, what if you drink a little more and you feel it a bit, just a little bit? You're getting something, right? Maybe you feel nice, it feels pleasant, a little lightheaded perhaps, but you don't feel like your motor skills are being negatively affected. Then we might say that you're just a bit buzzed. And someone might say, lightly buzzed. Kind of lightly buzzed. I'm a bit buzzed right now. It's a sort of nice feeling, I guess, after you've had a drink or two. And people have a different level of tolerance. So if you have high tolerance, going from sober to buzzed might be 4 beers. But if you have low tolerance, going from sober to buzzed might be 4 sips. That's different for everybody. People have high and low tolerance depending on, their, I don't know. Who knows? What am I, an expert? The next level then would be a little higher, and that would be something like tipsy. If you're a bit tipsy, you don't just feel a certain way, you are starting to be affected. You might once in a while, and you might maybe take a false step. You feel a little slightly dizzy, maybe. You're affected more by it, but you can still carry on conversations perfectly well. You might mess up a word every now and then. Your abilities have been impaired, affected in some way, but not too seriously. All right. Now the next one is not a word, but is describing this feeling of getting very close to what we would describe as drunk. That's D-R-U-N-K, not D-R-A-N-K. People often get this confused. I've heard many people say, you're drank, D-R-A-N-K. To drank is the past tense of drink. We drank something. Drink, drank. No, the adjective for this is drunk, and we'll get there. This, though, this is a phrase. A few too many. I think I've had a few too many. Now, that could be drunk, maybe, but it's really this feeling of, okay, I'm really feeling it, and maybe whatever I was planning to do, I can't do that as well. And if we want to describe someone else, maybe they're starting to say ridiculous things, or they're singing bad karaoke. We say, I think he's had a few too many. Okay. That could be drunk too. Just to be clear, this is kind of it's kind of a fuzzy term. But the next one is definitely drunk. D-R-U-N-K, drunk. He's drunk, she's drunk, they're drunk, we're drunk, I'm drunk. Okay? And that one is just, I don't know what the line is, but you're totally affected. You've had so much to drink that you are behaving maybe in a way that you wouldn't normally behave, and you say to yourself, I am drunk. And you're not able to drive a car. Some people may say, if you're buzzed, you can drive a car. That's under the limit. If you're tipsy, probably not. If you're drunk, definitely not, right? Don't do that. But again, that line can be somewhat fuzzy. People may define that a little differently. Now, the next ones we could say, the next two, they could be interchangeable, right? Someone might be hammered, totally hammered. That means more than just drunk. They have had way too much to drink. They've completely lost it. They might be throwing up. They might not remember it the next day. It's definitely on the high end of drunk. And the similar one we put here, or we use, is shit-faced. So if you're shit-faced, you're hammered, you've had not a few too many, but many too many. And that is just on the spectrum of drunk. You could say that tipsy, a few too many, and hammered and shit-faced, they're all on the spectrum of what we could call drunk. And these are loosely defined, right? I'm just trying to give a general sense for the levels here. And then the last one would be, I've heard people say pissed as well. In American English, we don't use pissed. And then the last one is blackout drunk. So blackout drunk means either you're so drunk that you don't remember anything the next day, or you actually pass out, you black out and sleep for a while, or sleep until the next day. You're so drunk that you have no control over what you do and say. You're blackout drunk, right? So these are the levels, but not to say that there are no other words. There are words, for example, in the UK, people say pissed, and sometimes people say plastered, and there are other terms as well. But these are some of the most common, I would say, especially in American English, that you can use when you want to describe how drunk you are, or usually, probably more often, to describe how drunk someone else is.